guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we are filming. What's going on here? Today we wanted to respond to some of your frequently commented comments, I guess, and ask questions on our trip to Kenya. We recently took our family for just over a month to Kenya, East Africa. We have 9 children and I'm pregnant. For me, normally I get back to my comments quite a bit, I think, and it was all I could do. We had 2 babies / toddlers, and so for me it was all I could do to film and post videos. It was a lot harder to keep up my comments. You were able to more.
Keep up on the comments? I read some of them.
He read them a lot more than I did. So he would tell me like what people are saying and asking about. And so I took some notes though. I did keep some notes, and just so that we could make kind of this response video. So
yeah, it was hard to kind of go back and respond to a lot of them just since we were running around.
We were running around a lot. It was very tiring, awesome month. That's what I would say. Yep. Traveling with little ones. I don't even think it was the 9 kids, although that's logistically challenging. It's the little ones that keep you on your toes. One
little one can keep you on your toes, so let's just be honest.
Yeah. So when you're in houses that aren't like, they don't know they don't know what they can get into and what they can't.
And all the homes are not necessarily kid-proof, you know, baby-proof. So,
so you're on your toes all the time.
You're more on your toes than you're at home.
Whew, yeah, so it took us actually, we've been home about 3 weeks now.
Almost. Yeah, it is actually, exactly.
Yeah, and it's taken us a little bit to recover.
We need a vacation, right?
But we're feeling quite recovered now, getting back into our regular lives. So we're gonna hit a few of those. Are you ready? We're gonna go fast.
Oh wow, let's try.
Okay, there's a lot of Kenyans that wanna know, what tribe are you, Solo?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Some think they know.
You know, ever since I was a little kid, that is one of the first questions that people ask you in Kenya. It's like
yeah, it's a big deal in Kenya.
It is, and this is not new. Goes back to when I was like little. I just always said I was Kenyan. And I was able to do that because I am a mix of several tribes. Some of you just figured out which ones I was by checking out my grandparents' video out in the village, but you didn't get the full equation, so I'm excited about that. So I am Kenyan. I am Kenyan, and I don't do tribes. I love tribes, but I don't like it to be the identity, you know. So yeah, I'm proud of my heritage, but I like to unify people.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave that there. You can address those comments right to him. Okay, a lot of people talked about driving in Kenya, and a lot of people were surprised that I was driving in Kenya, and then wondered, how do you drive when you're driving on the opposite side of the road? Is it really difficult? I think I started driving in Kenya when I was like 21 or 22. And my Aunt Sharon, you've met her before on vlogs, she's the one that taught me to drive there originally, and she told me, let me tell you the secret, wherever you are in the world, when you're driving, you are always, as a driver, you're always in the center of the road. And
it's a good thing to know, but sometimes it just messes with you. You're thinking.
Yeah, so when it comes up, like when you're seeing traffic flow and you're pulling out, it's easy. You go with the traffic. When you're pulling into an empty road or in a parking lot, that's where it can be really challenging, where you don't see a lot of traffic and your brain has to think again, okay, which way am I going? So if you as the driver, because when you're on here, what side do we drive on here? We drive on the left side. So when you're the driver on the right side, you're also driving on the other side of the road, so you are still in the middle of the road. Does that make sense?
No, actually you have it mixed up. So you don't drive on the left side. Your car is the driver is on the left side, but you're driving on the right side.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, exactly. And
so actually for me, once I get there, you know, you're on high alert that it's opposite, and you're always thinking, I need to be in the middle, I need to be in the middle. So actually for me, I struggle a little more when I come home, because it can catch me off guard, and there's less traffic here in Lincoln, Nebraska than there is in like Nairobi, and because there's a whole lot less people. I catch myself more switching back. How about you?
Yeah, I actually had an incident just last week, and it's been almost 3 weeks. I'm going to a completely empty intersection.
Yes, that's
and I'm like turning.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wait a minute, am I on the right one?
Yeah.
Am I on the left one? You know,
yes.
so Yeah, it kind of plays mind games with you a little.
But
yeah.
I love driving in Kenya, but I especially love driving in Nairobi. The traffic is like, think New York traffic with a little less structure. A lot less structure. It's a challenge, and I love it.
With no rules, just suggestion. Yeah. You could stop at the red light if you want to.
Yeah, and then you have to be a lot more aggressive to pull in and to pass people and to just get into there are very few lights. It's mostly huge roundabouts, like 4-lane roundabouts, and you have to be aggressive or you will sit there all day waiting. And so I love driving there. It's fun. It's a fun challenge. I get home, I'm like, it's boring. That drive home from Chicago was so boring.
Yeah, I almost slept.
Yeah. Okay, this one's for you, Solo. There were a lot of Americans that were shocked by how nice Kenya is. Do you just want to... And then a lot of Kenyans that were upset that
people were surprised, yeah.
Yeah, or not even Americans, just any foreigners that have never been...
Westerners.
Yeah, Westerners, yeah.
Yeah. I can see why Westerners get surprised by a lot of things. Especially, which I found many times where people, it's easy for someone to believe that I grew up with Tarzan, that I grew up in a big city. You know, like, they hear you, but you're like, they don't really hear you. And you just get tired of it and you just move on. You know that a lot of it has to do with what the perception that's been created through the media and just anything you see that's Africa points towards one specific thing, whether it's poverty or animals, is basically what you're gonna see. And so the hard part about this is that whatever's being said oftentimes is actually true. So it's hard to dispute that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you the whole story.
There is poverty. There are gorgeous, amazing animals.
There is incredible poverty that you don't see in Western worlds. But at the same time, it's not the whole story. So then I see from the Kenyan side, and I don't know, I don't speak for the whole of Africa, which is another issue I'll touch on a little. People see that all the time. That's all they ever see. Like on TV, whenever their country is being portrayed in the Western world, it's like always something that has a negative connotation, and so people get upset without really giving people credit. So I think both sides, people need to educate themselves. For those of you that are maybe watching from Kenya too, that I even saw some really bad comments where people are not really happy. I totally understand, and I can see where they're coming from. But if you take a step back and try to understand the person that's innocently commenting on the surprise, is because they've never been shown anything else. And so there's no need to get upset with somebody that's really just sincerely discovering something for the first time, you know. So but it is definitely having grown up in both countries, in both parts of the world, if you would, I could totally see why there is this tension. People tend to refer to Africa in general almost like a country. Africa is the second largest continent, is the second largest landmass on Earth. I mean, so you take Europe and South America combined, and I don't think it's the same size as Africa. Don't quote me, I'm not exactly right. But it's just that big. But you don't get people like telling you, like if let's say they're from Spain and someone is from Russia, you don't really tend to group them together. You distinct Spain and Russia. And that's how Africa is very oftentimes referred to, you know, almost like a country, and people forget it's such a huge continent with so much diversity and often gets overlooked.
Many different cultures.
Oh, many different cultures, and within the different countries there are many subcultures that are way more diverse than Europe, for example. And so Africans don't like that. If you get them on the wrong side of the bed, they will be upset because of that. But they feel completely powerless to controlling people's perceptions. So if you've gotten someone that gets upset, it's like, kind of understand when you're continually being misrepresented, there's a buildup of frustration that comes. And so people tend to be more sensitive. I can totally understand that, because I remember feeling that way and being defensive a lot and trying to kind of stand up for Africa until I started also putting myself in the other people's shoes. So then I'm able to kind of balance the perception and also understand that people, generally most people just go by what they're given, whatever you learn in school, whatever you see on TV. And I could tell you endless stories on this. I've probably spoken way longer than I needed to be on one little
You know,
question.
I do think it's interesting though that when we got married, we realized I had mostly a public school education in the Midwest of the United States. And I knew way less about the world than Solo did. And he had a public education,
and part of
basically.
it too, I think it was interest too, because it was beyond the school.
But you learned a lot more just in school about the rest of the world than we did, and that could be very specific to our situations. But I think it does speak a little bit to how much we're fed on this side.
Well, one of my brothers is an actor who has mostly he was acted a lot in the local, but also has done a few things for Hollywood or Western movies. But every single movie that he's ever been pictured on that's Western or Hollywood always shows like he'll play a role that kind of shows the negative side of Africa. In fact, one of the movies was so funny, I won't name them because I don't want to bash anybody. But the actual office that he was supposed to be portraying, they created something. He shot in Belgium, but they created a certain look where the actual office that they were portraying in Nairobi was a lot more developed and nicer, way nicer than what they actually created the picture of. You know, so the real for the
drama they wanted it.
Yeah, like, for the drama they wanted it to actually look like this is Africa. Yeah. And you go the office that they're trying to actually picture was so much nicer. And so, but that's evidently what they feel like the audience wanted to see. So
I thought it'd be interesting to share something that I learned, and I always learn in Kenya, that challenges me a lot when I come home, just as a house manager of my home. But there's a lot less, people are way more conscious, let me say, about wasting. You notice that when you come home too? Like Americans, we waste a lot. I'm not saying that Kenyans are perfect at like environmental issues. Yes, they got rid of plastic bags, and we did notice a difference in
there was a huge difference.
We noticed a big difference from the last time we were there, like 4 years ago. But there's still like plastic water bottles all over. You see a lot more trash everywhere.
By far, yeah.
Than here. Like, it's not even comparable, so, but also you can't find trash cans everywhere. Like you hear, we were at a hotel the other day, I was looking down at a park, and I counted 20 trash cans in that park, just what I could see from up high. And in Kenya, you can go,
you have to
I
walk
saw
very
more
hard.
This time. Even I saw one in Malindi downtown that was recycling and trash, but it's a lot harder to find.
You have to really work hard to get it.
Yeah, so they don't make it as convenient to throw things away either. But overall, I feel like people are better at not wasting things. Rich and poor alike are way more conscious about how much electricity they're using, how much water they're using. They'll reuse everything, wash out those plastic bags, those Ziploc bags or whatever. They don't have that anymore, but you know, they'll wash out containers and reuse them a lot more than we do here, and it's challenging to me. I always come home like, okay, we could think harder.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too has to do with availability of resources, and so
because we have a Walmart next door that is like, you know, really good prices on everything, a Home Depot to fix things where you have to maybe be more innovative. There's more and more all the time there, but over time, because they have grown up that way even, and didn't have everything like so easy to purchase without going to this shop and this shop and this shop. Yeah, they much better at reusing and not wasting. And
it definitely tells you that it's possible, it's doable, and that you know that there's a way. But sometimes though you can't really help it, because anything you buy is how things are also packaged.
Yeah.
You know, you want something really small and the packaging will be...
here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That challenged me, and it always does. Kids and culture shock. Do our kids experience a lot of culture shock?
In Kenya? I don't know. I would think the babies, a couple babies might have. And I don't know how much...
did more, especially Hope, our 2-year-old.
Yeah. And I don't know how much that has to do with just being at a different place.
Everything's different.
Versus, you know, everything. But... the older ones, I don't think so. I think we try to go enough and stay in touch. That they, you know, I remember one time when the kids were getting a little bit older and we went on a trip. I think we were there for 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
And we were waiting. Well, no, we weren't. You were waiting for that moment.
I was like, they're definitely gonna have culture shock.
And it never happened.
No, but our oldest was 10 at the time.
Yeah.
And so this time I noticed our kids, I did notice a difference in the over 10 kids, the kids over 10, the 3 of them. They were more aware of differences.
Yes.
And like when they see poverty and stuff, because poverty there is a lot different.
It's like
than
in
what
your
they're
face.
seeing here.
It's in your face when you see it.
And I was waiting for that on the last trip, and they literally did. I would point it out, and Sola would be like, "Okay, you don't need to point it out," but because I was just waiting for them to notice. And this time, I noticed a lot more awareness in our older kids. But I think because we've gone before, it wasn't like a shock or
right.
It didn't seem like, I've seen a lot of people in culture shock, adults, and they didn't have that much. I noticed a huge appreciation when they got home. They're like, oh, so thankful for everything that they have and how easy everything is, and but
the one thing it does make you, for sure, even me who I grew up there, sometimes it gives you a deeper appreciation. Just if anything, sometimes a reminder. It's like, hey, appreciation of the small conveniences that are just you don't even think about it. Which reminded me of the very first time I moved to the States as a young person. Well, actually I hadn't moved here, just visiting, and we were at a park, a public park. People are drinking fountains in the park.
I probably took a drink out of the drinking fountain.
And that was like a no in Nairobi, man. You don't drink that water at the public park, even if so. And you have drinking fountain faucets at the parks in Nairobi because you're built with good intentions.
But nobody's drinking out of them.
No, but
maybe
nobody's
washing their
drinking
feet
out
or
of it. So.
hands.
No, but you know what? When I was a kid, you could. You know, when and in the neighborhood I grew up with, also we had our own. They didn't use the city water, so we drank from the faucet. But more and more, like I don't know, it changed. In the 90s, I think things really changed, and so the water wasn't always treated well with the city council water, and so it just people quit doing that.
If you notice, we're sweating out here. We're outside and it's humid. But the kids are making all the noise inside. So
I'm still drinking my tea. Thanks a lot, British influence,
Okay, but I guess how I noticed culture shock in the little ones, it could be even how their people are a lot more likely to take a baby out of your arms and want to hold them. And I think babies there are just more used to that, and it doesn't happen here as much in the States anyway. And so they just started getting tired of that. They weren't used to that. And so we would just notice like they were a lot more cautious of other people and just sometimes a little more clingy. So that's how I noticed it, especially in our 2-year-old. I noticed because she's usually very like easygoing, and she was a little less by the end of the trip. All right, there were a lot of comments about the snake at the in Malindi at that house, beach house, and then a lot of people are like,
black mambas and green mambas.
Beautiful house, would never stay there for the snake. And
well, let me just tell you, if I thought about it, I probably would have not booked the place either.
Listen, what I forgot to tell you is when we got there, the guy sat us down, the homeowner, and he told us all about the snakes and centipedes. And a lot of you told me the millipedes are actually the non-dangerous ones and the centipedes are. But he just described them both as centipedes, one being the devil and one being harmless.
Right.
But he did show us his snake book, and he said this book is important. If you get bit by a snake, you take this book and you immediately go to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, you figure out what you were bit by, because that will save you time and save your life.
And immediately I thought, what did I get myself into? If I wasn't extremely exhausted from traveling all day, I would have just like okay, thanks a lot for letting me know. We are on our way back. Please refund my money, you know. But
believe me, we felt that same way, and then a lot of our family felt that way too. They were like, what? But it was weird after a day.
No, but the guy did say though, it's never really happened. Like he'd go years without seeing it, but he just wants that's a possibility.
He had been bitten by one of the devil centipedes.
So yes,
the month before.
But I'm talking about snakes. He said he had been years where you see, he just didn't want us to be. He knew that there's a possibility because they are out in the middle of nowhere. No. Granted, that was our choice to go out in the middle of nowhere because we wanted a private beach.
We've stayed down at the beach many times and never been like in the jungle there before.
Yeah, so, but it was cool though. So it's like you get what you ask for.
That first night, I did have a nightmare of a centipede chasing me
Yeah, I thought about it a lot.
But after that, it's like we all of us, even, I don't think we were the most scared in our group, but even the most scared in our group, we just kind of forgot about it after a day. It's amazing how you just, your brain, maybe to survive, you adjust. And
yeah, and the other thing is that too, there was so many of us that neither one of the animals actually liked that much commotion going around. So so we probably scared them the first night if there was anybody around. So.
Now some of the comments said snakes are deaf, but they still, I think they can
snakes
tell.
are deaf, but they can tell by the vibration and the movement.
Yeah, so they can tell. Like,
they can tell.
There's a whole lot of people over there. We don't need that. Yeah. So anyway,
they don't like the
it ended up being like we didn't really think about it much after that first day. You saw the other centipedes everywhere, but other than that, it's just like, and you just kind of got used to those. Even the kids didn't seem even, they didn't care. One thing that was really awkward for me was vlogging in public. Like I had to really get over myself because already I'm stared at a lot, especially when we did the markets. And not only am I stared at a lot, but then I'm holding a camera. That was super awkward. I should have had you do all the vlogging.
How was it not? I did vlog
You didn't go to the markets as much.
Yeah, I vlogged at the beach.
Yeah, that's true.
Where else did I vlog?
I don't know. Do you not like markets?
I don't go to markets. Sorry, guys. I send people to the market. Here's my money. Go get me this.
I love the market, but it was so awkward vlogging there.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh man,
that was a joke.
It was hard though.
Yeah.
It was really hard because I was stared at way more as a white person with a camera up in my face. Oh my!
They're like,
you think it's hard vlogging
right
here
up,
in public?
Yeah. Tourist. Yeah.
One time at the market, I was with my brother-in-law, Godfrey is his name. Gotti, we call him. He was picking out some fruits and vegetables, like he's the expert, you know, he knows what he's doing. And this lady's like, why are you negotiating so hard with him? She was speaking in Swahili, but she did not like how he's negotiating so hard to get the price low. He knows his prices well. And she was like, you're her chef. You're on my side. You're black like me. You should give me. Yeah. Oh wow. She said you should get me, and she's white. You should be helping me, not her, as her chef. And he looked at her. He goes, I am not her chef. That's my sister. We moved on to another stand. But oh my god, I must have looked like the biggest tourist ever. Oh, so annoying. Anyway, I got you guys some good footage though, right? What do you have to say about that? Nothing. Okay, Solo,
no, sorry, I'm kidding.
I got one for you, Solo.
Okay, ask away.
A lot of people want to know, they truly want to take their kids on a trip like that, like they're from 2 different countries and they want to travel like that with their kids, or they want to know what you recommend to pay for a trip like that or save for a trip like that. Yeah. Because obviously it's expensive to take a huge family overseas.
Tell me about it.
We're not mincing words about that.
No, I really do think, and that's a whole video by itself, but I do think the fundamental thing is really making a decision that is gonna be a priority in your life, because there's always gonna be something you could do with the money, or if you wait to have so much, sometimes you may never have a lot at once. So I think just fundamentally that has to be something that you decide from the very beginning that's a priority, and so that you will make sacrifices and start setting money aside, shooting the goal and start setting money aside however long it's gonna take. And so but it is like anything else, with faith as well. As you're diligent in doing what you want to do, you know, I always feel like the Lord rewards diligence and faith. And so as you make it a priority in your life, and you start with disciplining yourself to put money aside as a priority, not like if we have enough, if we have too much, like if we have excess, then we'll do it. To some people, you may never have excess in your life, and so if you wait for that, it'll be a long time. So you don't wait till you have excess. You set money aside as if you're paying a mortgage, or as if you're paying for a car, or paying for whatever thing you use on every day. You know, just it has to be a part of that. And so then you might be surprised sometimes. God might just give you good breaks that you weren't expecting, but nonetheless, you still make it a priority that way. Money is always gonna find ways to go, you know, there's some places to go.
And there's two things we always do, I think. One is we always know how much the next trip is going to be. So like when we got home from our last trip, we knew, okay, our family might be a little bigger. We want to make this change, and this is kind of our general budget.
Yep.
And so we know that for years of what our goal is for that trip.
Right. We already know what our next trip will be in terms of what our general target amount is for our next trip.
Yeah. But so, like this last time when we got home 5 years ago, we said we really want to go in 3 years or less, and it took 5 years. So it's not like just
always
easy for us. But the other thing that I think is consistent with us is every time we've decided, okay, it's the right time, we prayed about it, we know it's like the right time, we've had to take a huge step of faith too. And it's amazing how it all comes together when you feel peace about the timing too. And so like we'll know we have a good we have a good majority of it, and then the Lord just starts providing these things unexpectedly. And so it's a step of faith each time. And that we also have been budgeting because we know what it's going to cost. So
right. So
okay, so my favorite thing about this trip, just to wrap it all up, is just that we were together a lot. You know, when our kids are just getting like, there's a big age gap between this new one coming and our oldest is 15 years, and so we're not always able to be together like we used to when they were all kind of little. And so I loved that for like over a month, pretty much everything we did, it was like an adventure all together.
Sure.
That was my favorite part. I mean, obviously seeing family is like why we go, why we do it. But, and then also keeping our kids acclimated to like just being comfortable with Kenyan culture and knowing it, and feeling like they know their other home.
They're not as strange to their heritage. They understand it, and not as outsiders. And that's the thing. We never wanted it to be that way when we first got married. We just decided, you know, our kids are not going to be outsiders in either one of the cultures. They're going to belong both ways. And so we feel like that's being accomplished and continuing to, you know. So they just blend right in. Whether we're in the States or we're in Kenya.
And we didn't take toys at all. I think Noelle may have taken her little stuffed unicorn, and that's like it. And we had very little electronics, just what I needed to work with, so that we let the kids play with sometimes. But so we were like, we had quality time.
Absolutely.
And a lot of time for them to spend with their family. There just weren't distractions, and for them to see Kenya. So
and did you have any other? A lot of hand games were created.
They made up games. It was fun. It's fun to see them be creative. Did you have any other like favorite thing that stuck out?
Oh, there's a lot, so I better not.
Many. We better not get him started. Get the preacher started talking. We'll be here for a while. Hey guys, thanks for watching today. We're gonna we want to do this kind of video in about a week and a half with our kids, our older kids at least, maybe Eli up, maybe Tori up, something like that. So if you have some specific questions for the kids about their Kenya trip, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, because I'd like to get some more ideas of what to ask them.
And for the haters, be nice. Don't write anything.
No haters.
Don't write. We don't want that. Just keep it to yourself. We'll see you later, guys. Get a punching bag.
Bye.